Silver just dropped 5% overnight. But that's not the real story. While you were sleeping, something much bigger happened, something the headlines won't tell you. Why did silver crash in the middle of the night? It wasn't just a market dip. No, this was a targeted move. And the world's biggest banks are scrambling to cover it up. I've been in this industry for over 12 years, and right now I'm watching this market unravel in real time. Now, here's the real question. If silver is really worth 87.7, then why is someone in China paying $13 more for the exact same metal? Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly why this price suppression isn't just a fluke and why it could change everything for you. So what really happened last night? Silver's spot price crashed by $4.61, down 5%. But the real story isn't just the drop. It's the way it happened. Around 10:40 p.m. Eastern Time, during the lowest liquidity hours of the trading day, someone dumped 2,000 futures contracts. For those who aren't familiar, this is the overnight window, the quiet hours between New York's close and London's open. It's when the market is most vulnerable and a small push can send prices tumbling. But here's where it gets strange. This wasn't just about selling silver. There's a huge disconnect between what's happening on paper in New York and what's going on in the physical market. While New York silver crashed to $87, physical silver in Shanghai was trading for $100. And that's not just a small difference. It's a $13 premium. This isn't a fluke. This is a market screaming at us. So let me ask you, why would someone in China pay $13 more for the same metal? Here's the undeniable truth. Silver's paper price in New York is meaningless. While the futures market was crashing, the physical market in Shanghai was trading at $100. That's a $13 gap, the widest it's ever been in modern history. But it gets worse. This gap should have closed in hours. Traders in New York should have rushed to sell silver and ship it to Shanghai, locking in that profit. But guess what? The gap is still there. Why? Because there's no silver available in the West. The vaults are either empty or they're not releasing any more metal. And that's why you need to stop looking at the screen prices. What's happening behind the scenes is far more important. If silver was really worth 87s, that gap wouldn't exist. But it does. And that's the first sign the system is breaking. Now, notice what's missing here. No one is talking about this. You're not hearing anyone mention the physical shortage because it's not convenient for the big players. But it's happening, and it's real. And when this gap keeps widening, it tells you that the paper price can't hold forever. Now, things are escalating fast. First, we have the $13 Shanghai premium that's refusing to close. That alone should be setting off alarms. Second, we're seeing the backwardation in the silver futures market. Spot prices are higher than futures contracts, signaling a desperate need for immediate delivery. That's another red flag. But here's the third and most troubling development. The bullion banks are in a tight spot. The short positions they've built up on silver futures are getting harder and harder to manage. They're in a position where they either have to deliver the metal they promised or they have to roll over their contracts at a loss. And they're running out of options. So what happens next? If this continues, we could see massive squeezes in the market where these banks are forced to buy back their positions at higher prices, which only drives the price up. That's how you get an explosion, and we're very close to it. Now, let's talk about what all of this means for you. If you're holding silver, whether it's physical or futures, this isn't just some far-off financial drama. It's affecting real people, including you. Imagine being one of those who's been stacking silver for years, watching the price suddenly plummet, only to realize it's being artificially suppressed. Meanwhile, in Shanghai, people are paying a premium to get their hands on physical metal. It's a huge disconnect. But here's the kicker. The shortage is real. And when the physical metal isn't available, it means there's no way to deliver on those contracts. This doesn't just affect traders. It's people who are saving and trying to protect their wealth. And if you're thinking, this feels familiar, you're not alone. If you've been through market manipulation before, you know how these things escalate. If this situation gets worse, it won't just be the traders who feel the pressure. It'll be everyone who thought they could rely on the market for stability. Now, let's step back and look at why this is happening. It's not just random market chaos. There's a system at play here, and it's designed to keep everything from falling apart. The mechanism driving this, it's simple: leverage, incentives, and fear. The banks and big players can't let silver's price rise too fast, not because they don't want to see profits, but because they're short on silver. If the price keeps rising, they either have to deliver the metal, which they don't have, or buy it back at an even higher price. It's like a game of chicken. The system is designed to push the price down to avoid triggering a massive gamma squeeze and forcing those short positions to cover at huge losses. They're using every tool they have, price manipulation, coordinated selling, rumors, to keep the system from collapsing. But here's the unsettling truth. This system is built on a house of cards. And as long as the physical market keeps calling their bluff, that house is getting weaker every day. So what happens next? There are two possible paths from here, and they both lead to massive uncertainty. First, we could see the price suppression continue, at least in the short term. The banks will keep pushing the paper price down using every trick in the book. They'll keep fighting to stay below the $80 level on the SLV ETF and keep that premium in Shanghai from growing any wider. But here's the problem with that strategy. They're running out of time. Every day that the gap between paper and physical grows, every day that the Shanghai premium holds, the pressure builds. The squeeze is tightening. If the price stays suppressed for too long, there will be no more metal left to deliver, and the paper market will completely decouple from reality. On the other hand, if the market suddenly flips, if silver breaks above $80 or the Shanghai premium widens further, we could see an explosive breakout. A gamma squeeze could trigger a massive short squeeze, sending silver prices into the stratosphere. So which path do you think we're on? The banks are running out of moves and the market is starting to wake up. The next few days are critical, and whether this market cracks open or holds together depends on what happens next. So here's the bottom line. This is more than just a market dip. This is a system teetering on the edge of a collapse. Silver's price manipulation, the disconnect between paper and physical metal, the backwardation, and the Shanghai premium, they're all signs that something huge is coming. The physical market is already calling the bluff of the paper price. The big players can't keep this up forever. Eventually, the price will reflect the true supply, and it's going to be much higher than 87. Here's my final thought. The system is already broken. The only question left is how long they can hold it together before it finally snaps. And when it does, it won't just affect silver, it will send shockwaves through the entire market. If you want to keep up with this story as it unfolds, hit that follow button. There's more to this story than meets the eye, and we're just getting started.